You don't demolish a federal agent's home and expect to walk away. I returned from a classified assignment to find nothing but a crater where my house once stood. Debris, broken beams, and a smug suburban queen sipping iced tea across the street like it was a sunny Sunday. The camera pans slowly. A man in black steps out of a vehicle, eyes locked on the destruction, breathing slow. That man is me. I'm Thomas Blake. I work for an undisclosed division of national security. The kind where paperwork doesn't exist and access requires retinal scans. 3 months earlier, I was deployed on critical operations, deep cover, zero contact. I left my life in perfect order. Bills on autopay, home secure, even those ridiculous neighborhood association fees handled. My residence was in Westbridge Glen, a gated suburb where the loudest drama used to be people fighting over hedge height. And yet, now it looked like a war zone hit just one lot. Mine. I stepped through the rubble, ash coating my boots, and flagged down a cleanup worker hauling concrete. Who authorized this? I asked. He barely looked up. Neighborhood Association President, Ms. Lorraine Carlton, said it was abandoned. I blinked. What? At that exact moment, my phone buzzed. An email popped up. Due to unpaid community dues for 90 days, the property at 1107 Hawthorne Way was deemed abandoned and reappropriated per Section 12B. That was a lie, a bold, fabricated lie. I turned and met eyes with Lorraine, perched smugly on her porch like nothing had happened. You really should have kept up with your payments, Thomas, she said with a smirk and a sip. I didn't respond, just walked silently to my SUV, opened the trunk, and pulled out a secured case. Inside, my badge, my clearance, and the authority to light fires under bureaucratic stone. But first, evidence. I combed through my transaction logs. Every HOA fee had been paid, on time, confirmed. Until suddenly, rejected. Their system showed, manual override. They'd intentionally blocked my payments. Not only that, but the demolition was done with no permit, no authorization from city planning. It wasn't mismanagement, it was calculated fraud. This wasn't homeowner drama anymore. It was criminal. I spent the next 48 hours pulling digital receipts, metadata logs, and contract trails. Lorraine's little empire was built on smoke and mirrors, and I had every angle covered. She hadn't just erased a house. She'd declared war on the wrong man. The next community meeting wasn't your average tea-sipping affair. I didn't show up with a real estate agent. I walked in wearing black, credentials in my breast pocket, fire in my veins. Lorraine sat at the head of the table, pearl earrings shining like crowns. When she saw me, her face twitched. Mr. Blake, this is a private meeting. I'm aware, but I'm not here as a neighbor anymore. I set down a stack of documents, stamped, notarized, irrefutable. Payment logs, account overrides, screenshots, timelines. Her fingers trembled as she flipped through them. This doesn't mean that you can't be prosecuted. Oh, it means exactly that. I pulled out my ID. Thomas Blake, Federal Intelligence Division. Your actions triggered 4 violations under national housing and property laws. Dead silence. The board turned pale. One member stammered. We didn't know. Lorraine told us. She fabricated abandonment. She forged signatures. She violated federal housing codes. I paused. And that makes this a federal case. Lorraine's pastel smile melted into panic. Within days, I initiated formal reviews with the City Council, fraud investigators, and the Office of Urban Governance. But that wasn't enough. I triggered a full audit of the association's finances. Turns out, this rabbit hole went deeper than any of them imagined. Tens of thousands routed to landscaping firms that didn't exist. Legal fees to Lorraine's brother's office. Beautification projects that were cash withdrawals. And the cherry on top, a $42,000 claim filed under abandonment recovery, just days before my home was leveled. On a Friday morning at 6:45 a.m., 3 dark vehicles turned into Westbridge Glen. I stood calmly outside Lorraine's home, coffee in hand, while agents deployed in every direction. Subpoenas, digital seizures, board interrogations. When I knocked on her door, she opened in a robe, mascara smeared from sleep. Her mouth opened, then froze when she saw the agent beside me. Ms. Carlton, he said, you're served. We're seizing all HOA financial records and communications. She tried to shut the door, it didn't budge. Ma'am, the agent said flatly, refusing compliance as obstruction. Lorraine stammered. He left. The house was empty. I followed protocol. No, I said, stepping forward. You forged everything. You wanted my land, and now you'll explain it to a judge. Neighbors peeked through blinds, recording. Agents moved past her into the home, bagging electronics, hauling out files. Lorraine, normally full of fury, stood silent. But I wasn't done. Not even close. Next up, the contractor. A nervous man in his 50s who crumbled faster than a soggy blueprint. When presented with demolition permits signed by Lorraine, he folded. She told me the guy was overseas. That he abandoned it. She said it was fine. 3 weeks later, the courthouse was packed. Lorraine in a suit 2 sizes too big. Her attorney, ghost white, whispering fast. The judge reviewed a stack of evidence taller than the bench. Neighbors filled every seat. News crews waited outside. And me, I sat quietly, calm, folded arms, watching. Emails, payment blocks, forged notices, a fake notary seal, internal messages with Lorraine calling my home an eyesore, and promising to remove it before summer. And then, the recording. The one she didn't know existed. From the contractor. She said he ain't coming back. She paid me in cash to clear the lot before June. The courtroom went dead. Lorraine's eyes went wide. Her mouth opened, then shut. The judge sighed and looked up. Ms. Carlton, your actions have triggered violations under federal and state law. This case is dismissed in favor of Mr. Blake. You will be subject to restitution. Criminal charges to follow. He slammed the gavel. Outside, Lorraine ran from reporters shouting questions. One asked, how does it feel to be outmaneuvered by a man you tried to erase? She said nothing. She couldn't. But I wasn't quite finished. 2 months later, the HOA was dissolved. Voted out by the residents. And guess who they unanimously elected to lead the restructuring? That's right. Using my restitution payout and a few federal contacts, I rebuilt my home. Same lot, same address, stronger than ever. And Lorraine, her house was seized to cover penalties. Last I heard, she's renting a 1-bedroom apartment and is legally banned from serving on any neighborhood board again. All because she thought she could rewrite the rules. But some rules aren't optional. Some rules come with a badge. And she picked the worst possible man to cross.